Hi, class. Today's lesson, we are going to go over adding and subtracting decimals. We're going to do a addition problem with decimals and a subtraction problem with decimals. The main thing to remember when you're adding and subtracting decimals is always line your decimals up. You have to line your decimals up. So if we look at number 2, we're going to look at number 2. Number 2 is 29 plus 27 and 69 hundredths. Now, the number 29 does not have a decimal in it. We're going to add a decimal at the end and then add 2 zeros because we have to line our decimals up. And since 29 is a whole number, then it's in the right place. It just has to have a decimal in it to line it up since we're going to add it. So we're going to go ahead and add a decimal and 2 zeros. Okay, we have our decimal and 2 zeros added to the end of 29. And so our decimals, as you can see, line up. They're lined up together. So all I have to do is just bring my decimal down, and then I just add as normal. 9 plus 0 is 9. 6 plus 0 is 6. 9 plus 7 is 16. I'm going to write down my 6, carry my 1 on top of the 2, and then 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So my answer is 56 and 69 hundredths. So that's all we have to do when we're adding decimals. We just need to make sure our decimals are lined up. If there is not a decimal in one of the numbers, then you can go ahead and place the decimal where it goes. And then just if there's numbers missing, then you just go ahead and put zeros as placeholders. So if there's something missing, you can always just put a decimal and then a 0 as a placeholder. So for instance, let's look at number 4. There's no decimal in 26. I can put a decimal right behind the 6 and then add zeros above the 8, the 2, and the 4. And so that's all you have to do when you're adding decimals. Okay, now we're going to look at number 3, where we're going to subtract numbers with decimals. Number 3 says 71 minus 12 and 3/10. If we look at this problem, 71 does not have a decimal. I know my decimals have to line up. I can leave my 71 here because it is a whole number and it's in the right place. I just need to add a decimal. So I'm going to put a decimal right after the 1 and then put a 0 above the 3 as a placeholder because I don't have a number there. Remember to fill in any missing spaces. I put a 0, just like number 5. There is no decimal or anything after 51, but I'm subtracting 38 and 75 hundredths. I can't subtract 5 and 7 from nothing. So I must put a decimal after that 1 and then put 2 zeros, a 0 above the 7 and a 0 above the 5. So that's an example. But we're going to go ahead and work out number 3. I can just bring my decimal down because they are lined up. They're all in one line. So I can go ahead and subtract 0 minus 3. I can't take 3 from 0, so this is where I have to regroup. I'm going to put a 1 in front of the 0 or change it to a 10, and then I will go next door and borrow from the neighbor, which is a 1, and make it a 0 because I always borrow 1. So remember, when we regroup, I always borrow a set of 10 from the neighbor and then replace it and put a 1 in front of the number where I can't subtract. So now I go back and subtract. 10 minus 3 is 7. 0 minus 2, I cannot do. I have to go and regroup again. So I'm going to put a 1 in front of the 0 and make it a 10. go next door and borrow one set of tens and make that a 6. So now I can go back and subtract. 10 minus 2 is 8. And 6 minus 1 is 5. And my answer is 58 and 7 tenths. Remember, if I'm checking a subtraction problem, I can always add my answer that I got plus the bottom number, the number I subtracted, and I should get the top number. So to check it, I'm going to check it real quickly. Okay, and again to check it, 58 and 7 tenths plus 12 and 3 tenths. And if I add those together, make sure my decimals are lined up first. 3 plus 7 is 10, 0, carry the 1. 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. I always write down the number in the ones place, carry the number in the tens place. So I'll write down 1, carry 1. 5 plus 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So that's 71 and 0 tenths. And that's the number that I started with in number 3. So I know that's correct. So we've worked an addition and subtraction problem with decimals. And for homework, I want you to complete 6, 7, 8, and 9. So for homework, I want you to do these 4 problems, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we have gone over addition and subtraction of decimals. And these are the problems that I want you to complete for homework. Again, make sure that you look over this video. If you have any questions, take notes, write them down for homework, and then show them to me in the morning. Okay, kids, homework 6, 7, 8, and 9. Good luck on your homework, and I'll see you in the morning.